Welcome everyone to another episode of Choral Living. Tonight we have another special guest with us. His name is Christopher Sideris. But before we get right into that, we have a new episode of It's Tom Starfield. So here we go.
Hey Tom, get in here and come meditate with me.
These yoga pants you got me, Gertie, are ridiculous. They're way too revealing. I don't want to wear them.
They're male TikTok pants, Tom. They're trending right now.
It is so hot in here, Gertie. Why is it so damn hot?
It's hot yoga, Tom. It's supposed to be hot. Now get down here and be peaceful with me. It's peaceful!
Come on, Gertie. You can't just have candles burning on the couch. For God's sakes, look at Goliath. He's totally dehydrated.
You are so stressed out, Tom. Now get down here with me and meditate, you friggin' idiot!
Fine. Hey, Gertie, where did you get all this religious paraphernalia?
I've always been spiritual, Tom. You know that. And I'm pretty sure they don't care if you take it.
I wonder what it would be like if all these religions just got together.
Take of the blood. Take of the blood.
Hey, Mohammed.
Allah Akbar! Cannonball!
All right, here we are with our special guest, Christopher or Chris Sideris. I don't know. Is it okay to call you Chris, or what do you like, Chris?
I don't really like Christopher. You can call me Chris. That's fine.
All right. It's good to have you on the show. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, we've been following, I guess, each other's content for a bit here, but I thought maybe a good way to just kind of get things started with our Choral Living audience at home would be to just ask you if you can sum it all up, what is the Chris Sideris show all about? The Chris Sideris experience.
Okay, I have no idea, to be honest with you. Okay, so it's all over the place. I'm a truth seeker. That's what I do. I've sort of come to realize that truth doesn't exist, or it does exist, but it's in the minds of individuals, and there's always the antithesis to this truth and that truth, and there's arguments for both sides when it comes to stuff like flat earth versus ball earth. Whether you believe one or the other, you can't deny that there's evidence for the other. It sort of produces everything. But looking at the reality over the years, as a truth seeker, if you seek truth without finding mental comfort zones all the time, I've come to a sort of conclusion that it's a sort of meaningless suffering realm, the reality we find ourselves in. And I could go on for hours about that, or why I believe that. I'm sure you guys have seen my opinions, but yeah, that would kind of sum up that I'm seeking truth, not happiness. For me, the two don't coincide. I believe if you're a true seeker, it's probably more beneficial to you psychologically to actually just give up on happiness because you'll be less conflicted, because you're constantly searching for something that the realm doesn't often produce. At least from my perspective, everybody's got their own life. But I'll say that most of the people I talk to on a personal level, maybe you guys included in this as well, I don't know you guys that well, but are struggling. Most people are struggling. I don't hear rosy situations that often life is perfect. And if I seen somebody behaving that way, I would probably think they were sort of pretentious. But even to be honest with you, I started meditating, really got deep into meditating to the point that I was meditating 16 hours a day, went through a whole spiritual path, blah, blah, blah. I just think altered my consciousness a little bit, or made me think slightly different, because I did change a lot since I would have like what I call disconnections through meditation. Some people call it astral projection. It could just be internal hallucinations created by me to give me comfort zones, because I'm trying to mentally deal with the hellish realm we actually exist in. And I guess I'm a realist. That's a good word to describe myself. I'm very logical, which is absent of emotions, has nothing to do with emotions. It's logic. And I go with that, and I'm honest. And a lot of people may perceive that as me being pessimistic, but what if it's just me reporting in from hellish realm number one? What if it's the realm that's shitting, and I'm just going, hey guys, this is what's happening over here. Chris, you're negative. It's like, what if it's negative? And I'm just like saying it's fucked up, like, but yeah, I'm actually curious to know about your guys' situation, because outside of the Den Keeper, which I watched, and I just felt the great energy from you guys. You guys seem like honest, logical, down to earth, good-hearted people. And I was like, okay, I'll do an interview with them if they hit me up. And you guys hit me up, and almost like the next day when I thought about that, which was interesting. But so you guys are pretty young to me, maybe early 20s. I could be guessing wrong, but
you're so nice.
Oh, really? Early 30s?
I'm like the same age as you, man.
Are you?
Yeah, I just turned 37.
Dude, it's the fucking man. Oh, it's the man beard. That's what it is. You guys are great. Are you? You guys are close in age? Are you guys brothers?
Yeah, we're brothers. Yeah.
So you're the older brother, the beardy guy on the left?
I'm the older brother.
You are?
I am.
Oh my God! Oh my God! What legend, dude? Yeah, I'm sorry. He doesn't look young.
Christopher, the Dookie boy realm's been a little harder on me.
I'm sorry, dude. I know it does that to people. That's what I'm trying to save everybody's soul.
That's always been the case. He's 5 years older than me, and that's since we were younger.
He looks amazing. How old are you?
I'm 42.
Dude, he looks amazing for his age, doesn't he? Like, for real.
Thanks. That's very kind of you.
So let me guess too. I bet you're an I just eat whatever I like type of guy, right? Like,
yeah, no, sorry, what was your question?
You must look good with good genetics, or you like had strict diets your whole life or something.
Believe it or not, I've like just recently started eating healthier again. I kind of go up and down. I try to eat super healthy, and then I fall off. Then I fall off the wagon, and I start eating shitty, and then it's kind of like an up and down thing for me.
I see it.
But my brother, he mentioned the Dookie boy realm, and I had a question that I wanted to because you use this term all the time, Dookie boy realm. Is the Dookie boy realm synonymous with the meaningless suffering realm? Is that just another name you give it?
Okay, yeah. The reason I called it the Dookie boy realm, dude, is because there was a point in my channel where I was saying, I'm constantly running. I'm searching for substance everywhere. Like everywhere. I need meaning here. I need meaning there. No, there must be meaning in politics. And no, it's the evil elite. And you know how the trick me is. It's a bunch of almost truths that aren't solidified. So I was looking for meaning everywhere. And I said, every time in this fucking reality, I'm searching for true meaning. I end up coming back with a handful of dog shit, running dog shit. And that's why I call it the Dookie boy. In the South, Dookie's like a reference to shit. So I call it the shit realm because that's what it is. And I come to understand now that it's us that attaches meanings to things. I'm searching for meaning out in the realm where the meaning is based off what you attach it to as the individual. So what I'm really looking for is something to attach a high amount of meaning to. And I'm still struggling to this day since I've realized this to find meaning in things, if I'm being completely honest. The spiritual path, or whatever you would call it, the truth, there's what I would call the logical truth-seeking path is not an easy one to walk. I don't think. I think it's emotionally difficult to deal with.
Yeah, definitely a good solid point there. We did an episode that was called "The Meaning of Life," or it was probably 2 or 3 months ago. We did it with Jared. Remember we talked about? No, I don't know if you were there or not, but I think you were.
I was at least mentally checked out.
A lot of people, they try to ascribe meaning to things, and I'm not saying I'm right on this, it's just a thought, but when it comes to meaning, to me, I do think that life is meaningless in a sense, but I think the beauty of it is that we actually get to give meaning. Like, I don't know if you would necessarily want someone to prescribe a meaning for your life. Because what if you didn't like that path and you didn't want to do that thing? I think there might be some truth in the fact that we all create our meaning. That's kind of like a liberating feeling. I don't know. What do you think?
I wanted to ask something totally different.
Well, why don't we finish
That
this
was a
one
great-
first, and then
Sure. Okay.
and then
And that was a great point, though. What he said.
So I was just saying that I believe with Chris that, like, at the core, at the source of things, I don't know if there's some all-encompassing meaning for all of us,
Right.
and I don't think we necessarily want that. I think the freedom is in the fact that we get to create that meaning.
The thing is, people are. It's like an asked question. What is the meaning of life? Like people have been asking that probably as far back as time goes. So it's something that people do want an answer to. What is the meaning? Why am I here? Right? And that is something somebody's either going to come along and say, hey, I know what the meaning is, and try to tell you what it is, or you can decide for yourself what it is. Like, pretty simple, it seems like. You can either kind of look around and observe how reality works and then come up with your own answer, or you can buy into something somebody else has decided to tell you they think it is.
Yeah. These are great points. But so, like, can you guys give me like a prime example? Like, what do you guys attach, let's say, a high amount of meaning to in reality? So, like, for me, it would be like spreading the truth. I could give you all kinds of it. Yeah. So that's probably what
I was gonna. The thing I kind of rudely I'm chomping at the bit to ask you is because you said that you decided that truth was going to be what you pursued. Like, you were like, I don't know. I forget exactly what you said, but you came to the conclusion that truth was going to be, and part of picking truth as your path is that it's not comfortable. It can be difficult to be a truth seeker.
Yeah.
Why for you is truth so important? Why did you pick truth as the thing to make priority number one?
Dude, that's a great question. Actually, I ask that question on my channel all the time. It's like, where does motivation come from?
Right.
And I think that question makes some people uncomfortable because it almost presents this idea that, well, wait, who am I truly in? Is like this scripted thing? No, that's not true. That's not true. I'm in full control. But no, to a degree, I don't even know where. That's a great question. That's actually one of my, what I would call in the category of my important questions in life. It's just like,
I was hoping you'd have an answer because I don't know why I care about truth so much.
I probably have multiple answers and can argue multiple different points and the antithesis of those arguments simultaneously. That's the way my brain works. I can actually almost always make sense of something. And that's what the human mind's great at. It's unfortunate it's great because it's also great at like conforming and then creating safe zones. And I just realized this recently on my channel was that when you think about what the human mind does on a subconscious level, like how advanced it is, like how advanced it must be to do all the things, keep your heart beating, keep your eyes blinking, producing this liquid for this organ and this, doing a trillion different things. And for me to just get on YouTube and just sit there, where does creativity come from? If I could just sit there and talk for 2 hours from a million miles per hour, it's like, where is that coming from? Am I so advanced that I'm in there? Some aspect of my brain is in there, constructing a million ideas a second, just so I could sit there and off at the mouth. It's like, my goodness. But then I compare that level of amazingness of the capability of the human machine to some of the worst behaviors of the human avatar creatures. And I go, this doesn't add up. Whatever's happening in the subconscious is not being done by us. I don't think that what we call the subconscious is in the mind. So that would kind of lend credence to a sort of scripted reality that everything's projected into us, that we potentially. So, and then I can argue for that. And then I can argue the antithesis of that. And I think that that's the way it works. I think it's completely random and there is no solidified actual truth anywhere. Everything's always almost true. You're going to see lighthouses 250 miles away in the flat earth there. You're going to see Earth floating through outer space in the ball. You're going to see evidence on both ends that are completely convincing, but it's always almost true. And
well,
that's what
that maybe has something to do with, like, we've talked a little bit about relative truth on here in the, you know, the universe of infinite possibility, infinite expansion, and infinite growth. How can you nail down on anything outside of the source, unless it's just like, you know, if you're going to talk about an absolute, it has to be all of it, all at one time, all as a whole, everything, right? So because we're finite creatures and we're trying to, like, understand this thing that we're in, we can never quite get it because it never never holds the whole picture. You're never holding all of it, right? You never have all of it. Whether you're using
you're taking a finite thing to try to understand the infinite. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. Kind of like that. And I find that,
you know, it's I hear how you answered that. Thanks for that. And just to, like, invite myself to say my answer to that, to why I care about truth so much, which I think I do.
I'd love to hear it.
Is because it's more like a running from rather than a running to type of situation. I see that so much problems with a world that uses so flimsily deception and lies and disingenuousness. Like, part of your when I because I listened to a bunch of your stuff before we did this. And I was, like, excited about this, you know. I'm trying to keep it together here because I really resonate with a lot of the stuff you say, you know. Like, it's tough out there. And there are lots of, you know, Dookie boys and shit out there. So I think what it is people just, it's so convenient for people to use deception and lies out in the world, right? And it's making this place suck. It's like it's making the world suck, all this, like, because it's used competitively.
Should we shame them harder? Like, when we see shitty human behavior, like, call it out, like, you're a fucking piece of shit, you know, for doing what you did. You got a ring on your finger and you did that, you know, like, if we see something that we consider immoral to us, should we call it out like it's dirty, grimy behavior? And that just makes me question, how then am I any less of a, what I would call a strange weirdo from my perspective? I'm almost in the same category. I'm getting others to conform to my way of believing or my way of behavior. And it's like, it never really works that way. And I've sort of come to realize that the human avatar, whatever it is, there's conscious people, they exist, obviously. But for the most part, the human avatars are sort of very limited, maybe primitive to a degree, intellectually. I don't know if it's they damaged us through schools and we did this, and blah, blah, blah. We can get into all that bullshit. But at the end of the day, I see the state of humanity and it's like, my goodness, we're capable of so much more. Are we not?
Yeah.
Or is there something wrong with us, or like people like us that think, I don't know, from a tribal human, but I see humanity coming together as part of the issue. Everybody fears a one world government, but that would potentially get rid of so many issues in reality of conflict. Yeah. Why are we always under the rule of leaders? And I'm sorry, guys, I can actually rant. If I'm going on too long, let me know. I can rant about this stuff for hours off the top of my head. It's just, it's always been my fascination for something. Why do we seek truth? Like, what are we really looking for in this fucking god awful demonic reality that we find ourselves in? And I don't agree with anything I see. Most of what's going on in reality is like bizarre, almost like a Twilight Zone episode from my perspective. If you're talking about like morality and mental lines, I actually, from my perspective, slowly see humanity as a whole losing their minds. And the best, like, fighting back I can get, here's the paranoia that comes with being a truther, the best fighting back that I could get is getting on YouTube and hooting and hollering about the shit. And it's like, you know, it's like, what else could we do? I feel very, I guess you could say I feel very powerless on a day-to-day basis in the Dookie boy realm. I feel powerless. I wish I could do more.
But I think talking about it is better than nothing, because it normalizes the idea, first of all, of talking about it and getting it out in the open. You know, like, it connects people who are starting to look around and be like, something's wrong. You know what I mean? You know, you got a decent amount of subscribers and, you know, or whatever, followers and that sort of thing. Like, it's something better than nothing. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it feels like, well, is there anything that can be done? Like, the bottom line is we probably are at a point in humanity where there's enough resource, technology, and everything to have things be better than they are. What is holding things up? You know?
Yeah.
And a big part of it is just shitty human nature, just shit, greedy, overly competitive human nature. And maybe there is a solution. Like maybe this is the ground level. You know, maybe in 20 years they'll look back and say, who knew? You know, it was guys meeting up on YouTube or something. I don't know. but it's something. I mean, what else do we have to do while we're here? We're stuck in the Dookie boy realm. So
yeah.
So while we're here, this is the only thing I can think of too. You know, like you don't always like. I wouldn't go, you know, to a work situation and talk the same way I talk on YouTube necessarily. Although I have. You know, but it's sometimes you feel like looking around and calling people out, but it's not appropriate. And then you have an opportunity on a channel to kind of like vent what's really going on and go figure.
Yeah, it was great.
Go figure. There's people out there that resonate with it, and they're like, "Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It fucking sucks." You know what I mean? It sucks that people are so shitty. And what are we talking about when we're talking about shitty people or dookiness?
I resonate with like you talk a lot. I don't know if you call it the system per se, but the system, the construct, whatever's going on, one thing I really resonate with is how corrupt and awful, like kind of the construction that we're all working with now. Not that it was always corrupt, but that maybe we have just woken up to how ridiculous it actually is. And I think more and more people are starting to wake up to how exploited this so-called awesome system that we're supposed to be living in is supposed to be working for the betterment of us all, and yet the people that are running this show are fleecing everyone. That kind of resonates with me, and I'm hoping that enough of us can start waking up to that, to start bringing some equilibrium to the chaos that these people have created.
Yeah, brother. I mean, when you actually think about it, it's almost hard to piece it up, right? Because what they're doing is actually incredibly amazing. They're, I mean, dude, imagine me robbing you with a knife, and you're the cop, and there's a camera here, and then everything against me, and I still get away with it. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, okay, you're participating in a system where 99%, and the nines go on forever, 0.99999 of the wealth is in the hands of a few families. And while this complete broken system is happening, you're being told to not only preach, but to believe this is the best land of the free. It's like, what's going on here? Is anybody here logical anymore? I look around and it's like,
that's what happens. And I'm pretty sure that when so many people have, you know, I kind of think that there was a time when morality was more common. You know, maybe a time of higher ignorance of things, but there was a time when people like felt like they should keep things in check because death's probably around the corner and who knows what happens. We're in the age of information, and people have abandoned the idea of probably God or morality. And I mean, fair enough. If people taken in so much information, they've decided it's not for me anymore. But the downside of that is people are free to be as shitty as they want. And so, but what I guess you could say, trying to say is like, come back to being honest. Because I know it's not magic. You're not going to pay for it. God's not going to sit on a cloud and judge you necessarily for being deceptive. But you're not going to understand what the fuck is going on because you've lost track of truth. Like, I'm not a fan of everything Jordan Peterson has to say, but I really like his attitude on being adamant that, like, you want to be telling the truth, because when calamity hits, you know, you won't be lost in the weeds. You won't have weaved some kind of like delusional web for yourself where you're like, I don't know what the fuck to do because I'm built on a house of lies, so I don't know what's going on. I know people that like I've met people that have like been unfaithful to their spouse, and then their spouse cheats on them or something, and they're like, upset about it. You know, like,
Yeah,
I can't
I knew
believe she
somebody
did
like
that
that
to me,
personally.
man. And I'm like, yeah, but like, didn't you do that? And he's like, there's no way she could have known though. I'm like, it's besides the point. You're not being truthful, so you can't. You think you're getting one over on people. That's how these things come back to get you. You know, you don't want to use that as a tool so often in your toolbox is lies. You know, and I don't think it's like it seems like magic sometimes how these things karmically come back to get you, but I don't think it is. I think it's like psychological principles. You know,
But dude, if karma existed, wouldn't like all the
right.
elite evilest people in the realm like instantly catch fire or something? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, wouldn't they just instantly like their hearts like you guys heard of spontaneous human combustion? Like every underbelt and but I don't want to say the names, but these evil, monstrous, demonic families that are tyrannical over humanity and keep them in a stagnant slave race, they would all just like explode immediately. So I don't know if karma's real. I hope it's real. That's the little I call that the little hopium the human does. Just for hope, the little hopium joint. You know, that try to feel better about the shitty situation. But I say even if we do come back to reality number one, physical realm, we're dealing with evil people. Where do we go from there? Then what do we do? Because I feel lost at that point. It's like, what do I try to rally and start some? Let me get a revolution going and get rid of these evil. It's like, what do you actually do that's practical in the realm?
Not to psychoanalyze you or anything, but did you mention that at one point you were like a Christian or something, or did you say that?
I was a kind of Christian, I would say, more of a kind of Christian. I went based off just the reality didn't make sense, so I was looking for something that kind of, it must be the devil, and it all kind of made sense. So I was like, that was the best thing I had found at that point. Yeah, and I guess you could say that. But yeah, it was for a while, and a lot of the quotes moved me. A lot of them related to my reality or my truth search. A lot of it was relatable. So, but then I kind of seen it as for what it kind of was. But I moved on from that since then. And a lot of times you'll hear me attack Christians. I don't mean anything against Christians. A lot of good Christians are the closer you get to genuine people, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But you know, at the same time, it's like I'm beating my old ideology up because once I became what I would call conscious or aware of who I really was and the way I really felt, a lot of my old ideologies, I picked them apart almost immediately. And one of them was at the time was the strongest one was religion and what Jesus meant to me and all this. And when I had sat as the real me through deep meditation, I was like, who is this? Have you met them? Why do you put so much faith in them? Are there other ones? Oh, those ones could get you in trouble. If you believe in that guy, you're going to burn hell. If you believe in that guy, and you don't know which one to believe in. But I realized how much internal conflict it made at me, first off. But second off, I realized it also kept me in this sort of like mental slavery shackle where I was running off beliefs. And beliefs are great, but they can also work back against you. It's like, if once you believe this, you don't want to move on from it. It's like you're not open to learning anymore then. And I say I have a different belief probably every 12 seconds. Like I have a different belief of what's going on here every 20. My mind can't be made up. And I've been searching for the truth my whole life.
It's funny because I've like entertained the idea that the rules of reality maybe change as time goes on. Like maybe there was a time when it was true that there really is like a Christian type God, and that over time reality's that's a very solipsistic way of talking about it, but it's like I get the sense that for people, the way their perception of reality, you might as well say that it is real for them. You know what I mean? Like, because they'll come to you and be like, I was cured of cancer. I was, like, it's almost as if to the individual, unless they're like an NPC and then just whatever, but like to a thinking person, it's like they've got good reason a lot of the time to believe what they do if they're putting effort into thought, if they're thoughtful person. But I lost my train of thought. What were you gonna
That's why I had a question for you guys. I was curious. Do you guys ponder the idea of first off, do you think it's safe to ponder the idea of the NPC? And second off, do you guys think that that's possible? That there's actually just like scripted humans put in place for whatever reason?
Well, it sure seems that way.
For our audience, I was going to ask you this question anyway about the NPC thing. Let's define that, and then we'll answer your question. So everyone out there can get what is an NPC character?
Okay. So what I would personally call like an NPC is someone that's so completely incapable of waking up that you could slap them in the face with a semi truck full of truth and they still won't see it.
Yeah.
The most truth will still be on CNN. So that's just my way to describe probably people that have actually detached their probably. I'm sorry, that's not funny. People that are probably so traumatized by the reality that they've learned to detach, they want to believe that reality. That's what I would say. I don't like classifying. I say it all the time on channel. I don't like the idea of NPC because it kind of creates this like that thing's beneath me type of mentality. And that's like a scary, slippery slope. And not to mention, I can't prove it. And if they are just damaged human beings trying to deal with like a traumatizing reality, then I'm actually a tyrant or a monster getting over them, saying that to them to a degree. So it's like, I don't know what those people are going through, but if they're living in the same realm that I've sort of identified, I can't blame them for being damaged and broken. But the NPCs, yeah, basically that's someone that won't wake up. They're just
non-player character. Is that what it is?
But yeah, it's non-playable character or non-player character, and I think, and you actually had a way nicer way of saying that. I take back everything I said in case it was too mean to people that are literally just traumatized. But part of the caveat of the non-player character thing is in a video game, when you go up to the non-player character, they'll be like, "The shop is that way," and then you'll try to say something else, and they'll be like, "The shop is that way." So part of it is like this: they can't say anything other than the scripted line. You know what I mean? And so if somebody comes in, and if you're a truther, I'm sure you've been in this situation where you'll be at a party or a get-together or something, and you'll introduce a controversial thought, right? Like you'll be like, I'm not going to say one, but...
I learned that lesson a long time ago, but I know what you mean.
You'll say something that's like just a thought, just a theory or a thought on something, and because it's outside of the social norm, people are like, what the fuck, and you're like, hang on a sec here, I'm just thinking, like I'm just expressing an idea. And people will, because it's not part of the script, because it's not like a classic thing to say, people get weirded out and they malfunction, They have like an error code because it's... Am I fucking rambling?
No, I think you're making sense. Just to spin off of the non-player character thing, and you guys have mentioned trauma. What I would say is that it might be too traumatic to embrace or... contemplate an idea that is outside of the game that they've created for themselves, right? If you're the head CEO of a company that is turned a blind eye to the fact that its factories have little children making its toys for it, you might not want to be clued in to the fact that, hey, just so you know, you got these little kids or working in your factories making peanuts, right? They might they might fall apart, and so they work on like almost like a low vibration autopilot mode, which I think a lot of people do. They're just trying to get through their day, man. They just want to like get to tomorrow, get to the next day, get my paycheck, pay my bills, do my stuff. And they don't want anything to disturb that.
But honestly, I think that people can be so corrupt where they start like... You ever seen a group of people all of a sudden start like agreeing on the false thing? Like the false premise? Somebody will say something that's like not true or right, and then all of a sudden people will be like, yeah, I agree. And you're looking around, you're like, no, like that's not true, that's not right. And people are so... messed up and corrupt that they like now the wrong thing is the right thing, for whatever, for the case of like social cohesion.
My goodness, see that's I mean, these are great points, but man, that's such a hopeless realm then, isn't it? It's like, oh my goodness, man, we're set up to fail.
Let's go deep on the pessimism. Who cares?
Yeah. To be actually, I just mentioned this in one of my videos. It's like I do come off pessimistic because I'm always talking about truth topics. But like, just think about that logically. I'm actually by nature optimistic, believe it or not. I'm actually a very almost in the face, stupidly optimistic. It's a childlike thing, but I'm actually very optimistic. But I only speak about what I can observe in reality on my channel. It's like, why are you always being negative? It's like, for fuck's sakes, why is it always being negative? This is what it presents to be.
But that's what I mean. If you're telling the truth and then some like an NPC type person comes along and is like, "That's negative," and you're like, "It's not negative. It's neither negative nor positive. I'm talking about the truth."
This is what is. Yes. Yeah, it's unbelievable to me. It's unbelievable. It's almost as if they come ready to play part for the bad guy. Like, does that make sense? Like, why would they even know? Most people don't even, if we're being logical, most people don't even know about the bad guy. But these things come pre-scripted and pre-programmed to play the role of the bad guy's position.
Yeah, it's really spooky.
How's that possible? Yeah, that's really odd. In a reality that we're told, that everybody's just like us. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you played out this role for a moment, let's say a 10-minute moment, and you took a stance against something and then went, "Oh, that wasn't even me. What happened?" It was like something that ain't never happened to me.
That just happened.
Yeah, but I see that happen through other people. So this could also be the argument for NPC that they're sort of soulless creatures, or that they're just so plugged in that they can do the Agent Smith thing. You know what I'm saying? They can do that thing. We can't do that thing. So
that's a scary thought, that somebody would be so like, whatever. Sometimes I think that people that do what you're talking about are actually, something has happened to them so negative, or they've gone so bitter that they're like, I'm gonna allow myself to be like possessed by the wrong thing, and I'm on the side of pettiness. I'm choosing the side of pettiness. And I'm choosing the side of.
I feel like we see so much of that, man. Oh my god.
And sometimes it doesn't even. It's not even about like an outward stance. Sometimes I see people like, I'm gonna hold myself in a position that's like disgusting. Like, you're literally physiologically making yourself be. Now I am rambling. I'm rambling. That's the end of that rant.
I mean, are they of such a low self-esteem? They must be. Who knows what happened to them to make them that way? But are they of such a low self-esteem that they can exist in that way of being, knowing I'm in a position where I'm being shitty to people and I love it, and that's like, my goodness, you're literally talking about a monster from my perspective. But there are people like that. There's absolutely people like that, without question.
I understand it to a degree, because I think it's pretty common to people to have a bad day and then lash out because they're in a bad mood. Like, I've definitely been there before.
Okay, well, on a total other note, you mentioned like the Christian phase of your life and stuff like that. But what about this whole meditation thing? Like, I watched some of your earlier videos, or like the main video on your YouTube channel. It talks a little bit about like how you got into this meditation thing. What was that all about? How did that all come about?
Severe deep depression. That was probably like a 20-year depression. I would say my depression started around 23, 24 years old, and which is funny. That's actually at the same age where the clique of friends I had at the time, we all kind of went our own ways. I don't know if that means anything, but I went into a severe depression, dealt with it for years and years and years. Still deal with it to a degree to this day, but got bad to the point where, the first thought in my head every morning was, I don't want to be here. I'd rather be dead. I want to blow my brains out. So it got scary. And then right around a certain point in my life, I lost my dog. And it had a huge effect on me. And I was like, I really wanted to die in that moment. I remember that. It was the first time in my life I was like, okay, now I want to die. The pressure of the pressure cooker is getting to me. I just can't do it anymore. I'm done. And I was going to like either kill myself or experiment and see if there was a way that I could coexist with this reality and not want to kill myself. So I experimented with herb, experimented with meditation. At about the same time, mixing the two, I started meditating a lot, started having disconnects, having physical reactions to the meditations, visions, all kind of random shit was happening to me. And while this was happening to me, what's weird is looking back at that, I was so full of peace and love while it was happening to me. But again, I come plug back into the Dookie boy realm. I don't understand that. Is there a way to get past it or release? And some people think it's astral projection, and it's like, well, if there is, why are you still here? I don't understand that. If there's a way through astral projection to leave the Dookie boy realm, why are you still here? But that's what started the meditation. It was either it was either that or I was done, with this place. I was like, fuck this place. And it just so happened to line up right at the time I needed it, to give me what I needed, just enough peace to find sanity again, but also gave me a new consciousness or a perspective or a level of intelligence to perceive things from a different perspective. So I'm definitely thankful for the meditation and all that, but it has led me to here. So what does that mean? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? We're the ones that place good and bad on whatever things there are to place them onto. It's just, it's an opinion-based realm, and it's random. If I had to say what I think reality is at this point, I think it's just a random projection, and that's kind of with everything in reality that we can observe. Like, your appearance is random. You guys might not have been lucky enough to be born and to look great in your 30s and 40s. You guys may have had shitty genetics and came in looking like monsters. There are things called like incels, guys that literally can't get a date because of how they look. And it's like, you've got stunning beauty at one end, literally a woman that's so beautiful that when you see her, it stuns you. And then you got the rest of these chicks that look like ogres. That's me being cute and funny calling them ogres, but it's unfair. It creates the randomness of the reality creates so much unbalance. And then, of course, we're going to blame ourselves and go, oh, whether it's us that's envious and jealousy, it's doing that. It's like, well, why did I come pre-programmed to feel that way about somebody more beautiful than me or somebody with a prettier smile than me? Is this funny to create internal conflict and suffering?
Yeah. It's like, it's not funny. I don't know why I said that, but it's interesting because even like, in my lowest times, I can't shake some, it's probably because I was raised Christian. Like I do kind of return to this idea that there's an observer or like some God, right? And if I'm being honest, there are times when I'm having a bad day and I'm almost like lamenting to the universe about it. And I'm like, and I don't even have it that bad. You know what I mean? Like I'll think about some kids that are suffering or something and I'm like, screw you. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to be grateful when things are going good and be like, hey, thank God or whatever, but when things are bad, it's like I look around and like you said, like how are you going to convince yourself that this isn't at least somewhat of a designed suffering realm when there's so much of it, man? Like even if it's not in your life, doesn't it bother you that there's all this other, it's a click away if you want to see footage of suffering, that is awful, that should probably keep you up at night, knowing that there's maybe something you could do about it. Like, no pressure on anybody, right? People don't people got their own problems. They don't want to go looking for more. And I kind of remembered what I was saying before the video cut off too. And I think I was trying to understand the NPC thing, right? Like maybe it is somebody that's so traumatized that they got to stick to a script, man. It's, maybe I'm being a little judgmental by being like, they're just an evil, corrupt NPC walking around lying. It's like maybe they ended up that way because life was scary to them and they had to resort to that position. But interesting thing is when you were talking about how meditation benefited you, and, I don't know if you mentioned it or not, but maybe even gave you a higher level of awareness to things. Maybe that's part of the cure is people trying meditation, existing as an example of the benefits of, and then spreading that message. Like maybe that's what could get some of these NPC people out of their, spell is getting them to meditate and then having a deeper awareness, growing in empathy or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I actually went through that phase in my channel. Right after I had first started my channel, that's all that my channel was actually about. It was like, I don't know why, but I went into my channel with this thought or idea that I could kind of convince the whole world to become meditators. And I just, again, I got on YouTube, I hoot and hollered, I did the best I could, but it's like, what do we do now? And I don't know, but I do believe in, it's weird, I have faith in the power of group manifestation, the ability for people to do that. But then, okay, well now, is there a step two now that we've acknowledged that? And there's all I can do is get on YouTube and hoot and holler. I don't want to sound like, oh, everything's meaningless and I'm hopeless, blah, blah. But I wish if there was a way to do it, believe me, I'd be first in line. If there was like, okay, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to get people together this way. But I did that for a long time, but it just didn't get anywhere. And then I just started being realistic and honest about what's going on in reality. And It's actually, I got onto a sort of weird path because I was spiritual, but I was still seeking the truth. I don't know why I have this. Again, I don't know where the motivation comes from, but I do have this weird motivation to seek truth, righteousness, and those things actually don't exist. But I'm on that path, and I'm spiritual at the same time. It's like I'm searching for love and peace and harmony in a realm that, when I observe it truthfully, is the complete antithesis of that. This is creating internal conflict within me.
Yeah, I like what. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the way that I seen it. Was this? That's what this thing's doing to me. It's creating internal conflict, not just through. That's why I say the matrix works outside of you and inside of you, not just through the way it's set up out there and the common beliefs, blah blah, the matrix, but also within you too. Why do I come pre-programmed to react that way and and to experience the jealousy, the envy, and all these low vibrational things? If this is a school to unlearn those things, why would I come pre-programmed with them? That doesn't make any sense either. Why would you want to unlearn me of something and then give me that something and throw me in a realm with it to unlearn me of it? This is illogical to me. So a lot of that's another, I hate to go down that road, but that was another argument for me with the Christian faith, was that, is God sort of like sadistic as well? Can we at least admit he's being sadistic from our perspective currently? Because I know if I was God, and am I this amazing intellect? I'm just some random another person. But if I was God, I probably would have created a beautiful realm, not a Dookie boy realm. And if I did create a Dookie boy realm, I never would have sent my son into it. And if I did send my son into a Dookie boy realm, what does that make me? A sort of like weird, sadistic, watch him get crucified. It just... None of it ended up making sense to me. So I lost faith in the Christian faith. And I don't know why that's so important to me. I guess an aspect of my mind is still attached to the imagery and the idea of Jesus, that he was the Son of God. And I do want, it's a hope thing. I do want a savior, and I want to hit my little hopium joint and go, please save me. But I don't know. At this point, it's like, well, when are you going to save us? How much more torment does the human race have to go through before somebody comes and saves us? Like, most people at this point are talking about the crazy shit I owe. Let me out of here. Oh, this prison realm. It's like, it's gotten that bad. When is the hero coming? And I feel like that's kind of what the religion does, is it creates this hero that never comes. And I know if I was controlling you guys, I'd be happy that you were Christian. If I was the tycoon billionaire that owns all the wealth, I'd be kicked back in my $6,000 leather chair like, I'm glad these dum-dums are Christian. Look at that. They enslaved themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing that makes you exploitable, is or not you, but people's tendency to believe things. Like, like if you see some people that will believe in something that's literally not there. I think we were talking about this a while ago. Like, imagine like an evil person looking around and going, you can't even see this thing, and these people believe it. How can I use that? How can I use this little feature of humanity that there's nothing there? Now, like, so a devout Christian would probably give me some reasons why that's not the case. But I mean, objectively speaking, it's like they'll go into a room and talk to no one or something. Like, there's nothing there, right? And what kind of God behaves? You were talking about like the story. Like, again, I was honest with you about I still having some belief left over. But it's like if a human acts the way God did, we would like destroy him out of existence. Like, so I'm gonna send my son to be beaten to death by you guys. We'd be like, stop him! You know what I mean? Like that can't go on. Or
not to mention the infinite hell thing.
Yeah.
So like that's like,
hey, I'm gonna make you. I'm responsible for everything, and I can do anything I want because I'm omnipotent and all powerful. So I'm gonna make some messed up creatures and then blame them for it, and then send them to burn forever for it.
Yeah, like it's so tyrannical and evil. It's like, okay, you're God, you're this omnipotent creature. You're gonna send your kid to the Dookie boy realm to get mutilated. No, you're omnipotent. You can do anything you want. Why don't you send your kid down there with Raiden powers, immortal?
Help them, for God's sake.
Yeah, just destroy evil in that moment. The ability to teleport like Nightcrawler, appear in the face of people like, hello, dickhead, boom, and then kill them with like a lightning bolt from his eyeballs. Why wouldn't you send that dude down to help us? Not some dude that gets slaughtered and crucified, and then we go, oh, we love you. Like,
and you guys do the same thing. If somebody tries to hurt you, turn the other cheek. Let them do it. What the hell? What's going on here?
It's turning into a placemat of it's a stupidity realm of walk on me, evil, please walk on me. It's like, no, I'm done with that. I'm done with like allowing these monsters to have their way all the time based off what they're evil so they get what they want. Like, I'm done with it. I'll say, well, again, this is something I mentioned in a recent video. I'm not even sure. I know it's crazy, but I'm not sure they exist, dude. It's not mathematically possible that they actually exist, politicians. The example I gave.
Well, there's some weird footage of like glitches and stuff in the
Yes.
Matrix, right?
Yes, them disappearing and shit, or weird, or they have odd behaviors. Like we're
Joe Biden could totally be a robot.
That?
Like he could.
Yeah, these people are shaking on camera. So they're just acting so bizarre. They're just weirdos, and it's like I'm not sure they exist because the example I gave is there are certain rappers that can't go to certain places and play a concert there because they will get smoked. There are enough crazy people that would kill them if they showed up over here.
Right.
You're talking about monsters that could potentially be the evilness to every gang in humanity, including random redneck guy, random housewife, guy with a vengeance who got in on their team just to get close to them, but nobody gets them. Certain rappers can't go to certain neighborhoods, but the biggest monsters in reality can stay existing.
Right.
That's impossible.
Yeah. You're talking about the straight up, you're almost putting blame on reality itself right now, which I understand because it's like there's monsters out there that you're telling me some gun cleaning crazy nut won't, not that I don't
Let's
want
have a big guy. Then he'll show up.
I don't want anyone to get hurt or anything like that, but it's like, why then does like some innocent group of people have to suffer, and that's the type of thing, when you think about that sort of thing, that's the day you have where you're kind of looking up at the heavens like, what is going on here? Why? That's the most basic thing I come to sometimes is like, if anything is possible, if we've got the whole universe exists, obviously everything is possible. Why this? Why?
Yeah.
And even if it's like, well, you're too small to understand the grand picture yet, it is yet to be revealed to you. It's like, no, I'm going to be pissed off even when I find out what the answer is. Like, what the hell is that about?
So are you expected to just conform and be in this reality you complete? So why did God make me come pre-programmed with disagreeability with the realm then? Am I not also God? So too, there's a God. You could have God, I could have God, everybody could have God. Why are you telling me this anger inside of me is misplaced? Did you hear what I was talking about? I'm talking about a group of people that are trafficking children and profit from human misery.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking. That's what I'm talking about too. And I'm still not advocating being a vigilante or anyone hurting anyone. I'm not. I don't want that. But it's fun. It's not funny. It's interesting to me that the innocent suffer and it's frustrating that the evil people seem to ostensibly sometimes get away with it or often get away with it.
Well, I'll bring it back to I will be the weird optimist in the room.
Optimize it up here.
Yeah, you guys got enough pessimism for the whole universe. No,
I'm sorry. You should see where I grew up.
I don't know. What I see is that just from my observation, again, we're all seeing this through different lenses. I see it as like a lot of this stuff has been happening for a long time, but we've been shut off to it. I actually feel like the planet is going through, something is happening to the planet. I think more and more people, maybe it's the interconnectedness we're all getting now with like how we can connect here with you, Chris, and everyone is now just sharing their stuff and coming together. I feel like this higher awareness and this cohesion is starting to put pressure. This is why I think we're in the debacle we're in right now in the world, and some of the insanity is that those people that are at the top are starting to get scared, right? Because they're trying to hold their positions. They don't want to lose it. That's why they're putting pressure on and making wacky laws and cheating in elections, and it's becoming blatantly obvious to everyone that this whole thing is fixed, and that the system that you promised, the American dream is fake. Doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And
how many times can you watch somebody else who's, full of shit or lying or corrupt, succeed over and over and say, you can do the same thing when there's no chance that you can?
For every one story of rags to riches, there's probably, 100,000 people who gave it their all and lost everything.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah, but humanity has this weird ability to go, but then there's this example. It's like, dude, can we quit talking about like this 0.1% every time? Let's talk about what people really go through. It's like they always want to find the antithesis of your argument for some reason to work back against you. And even in the face of pure logic, it's weird. A lot of people do sort of become prescripted to fight for the enemy. And I don't know how they did that. They did a really good job. If there is a they, and they actually do exist there, I don't know if it's like a Whopper computer or the Illuminati or whatever. If there's a they've done you got to at least admit that, an amazing job, because if me, you, and him decided to go and rob the local bank, we're all intelligent human beings. We couldn't pull the wool over the eyes of a couple cameras. It would probably be very difficult for us to get away with that crime. Yet these monsters commit crime in front of the whole of humanity on a daily basis and pull the wool over everybody's eyes.
I think
it's bizarre.
I think in tandem with everything we've talked about here, I think that some people literally can't recognize truth. Like you talk about it like it's logic. I'm being logical. It's like I can hear what you're saying, but I think some people can't understand or hear truth because they've become so deceptive that they're lost in the weeds. They can't. All they think when they see other people is that guy's just trying to. What a charlatan! He's just trying to fucking do something. He's trying to get something. It's like you literally can't recognize the truth because you're so full of shit. That you think everybody else is as full of shit as you. You think your enemies are as full of shit as you.
So do you think that that's possible if they're also whatever me, you, and you are?
Yeah, I've got some full of shit.
We're all one. Everything is one. I don't know. It's a crazy one.
I do feel like everything's one too. I think that that's possible, and we're in a meaningless suffering realm all simultaneously. I think that everything's possible, and the antithesis to everything's possible. And I could show you evidence to argue almost anything. And
it's paradoxical.
Very paradoxical. Yes, that's a great word to describe it. Yeah.
It's we got so much weird. But back to what you were saying, I think a wackier thing about this is that the people that are getting exploited defend the system. Like they hardcore defend what's going on. They think when I talk, they think I'm the crazy person for saying like,
what's an example
this
of
is
something
broken. This is broken. Like I just classic. Like we're from Canada, Chris, if you didn't know. You're from the States. I look at the system up here and I think it's broken. That the political leaders are fleecing the people. The elections are rigged. The whole thing is a scam. And
it's all a big show.
Yeah, it's a big show. And when I talk to people about that, the people who are plugged right into this thing, they think that's crazy. They're like, "What are you talking? No. They really have our best. Because I honestly believe that if they actually accepted, if they could see, if the blinders came off, there would be some deep inner turmoil that they would have to go through.
Yeah.
It's really scary to admit to yourself that the people that you put your trust in that are supposed to be watching over you and your kids and your family and all that stuff, they don't care about you at all. Not at all.
From our perspective, it's like, how much more evidence do you need to see? What more do they need to do to prove this truth to you people? But you can't wake up to it. It's a bizarre, that, what, even though I say I don't agree with it, it's a slippery slope, man, it's a great way to describe them. Almost NPC, soulless, they've completely sold their soul to this realm, and I'm on team whatever's normal to believe now.
Yes.
This weird, bizarre mental state of stupidity. It's like, are you even an individual anymore? What's happened inside of you that you're so broken that you're this detached, fake, lying weirdo that I even got to the point where I was preaching peace, harmony, everything's love and light. And it's like, I see now how actually detached from the truth I was becoming, that I was lying back to myself. That was a mental comfort zone on display for everybody to see. It was me finding a mental comfort. It's all peace. And that's a complete lie. If you're being logically honest, it's definitely not all peace. Like, you can find peace, you can find harmony. These things exist in a minute amount, but it's not all that. It's actually more, I would say, majority in the evil realm, but the evil people, whatever, the collective of all of it, whatever you want to say. When I say the realm, it's like everybody, the people, the place, what's promoted by it, how things just end up being the realm, and it's I identify it for what it is.
Sorry, if you're not in an environment like this, sometimes you'll be like just waxing philosophical or speaking what you know to be true, and it'll be like, yeah, so and so's concerned about you. You're on watch now because they're worried that you're like. I guess telling in the honest truth sometimes is like scared. Is like people are frightened for you. You know what I mean? So now I do it here. But
yeah,
I forget what I was gonna. I think I was gonna try to say something positive. I was gonna bring up. I know what I was gonna say. It's like
me and this pessimistic dude would really get along.
Yeah, I'll literally be like, people will be like, "What's with the negative?" And you're like you've said, it's like, listen, I'm me. I'm not sad. I'm not like, I don't see it as negativity or I don't see it as pessimism. It's like, I'm just trying to understand the situation here,
Mm-hmm.
But people are like, well, that's not the appropriate way to face the world. The appropriate way to face the world is like this. Everything's good all the time. It's like, everything is not good all the time, and
No.
And
that is the highest
like
form of fakery. Yeah. It is. Yeah, it's a complete detachment from reality. I mean, I was doing that at one point. It's just like, oh my God, what was it? But it's unfortunate that the human avatar could have such a detrimental experience that it would lead to that. To me, that only enforces the idea that this is a sort of meaning or suffering realm. And I don't go too much into it on my channel, but I do mention a lot that I had a weird childhood, a very abusive household. And if I put it from my perspective, the way that I got plugged into the reality is this gentlest, lovingest essence you could ever imagine. I don't know, pure innocence. What are we when we come in before we're uncontaminated? Something beautiful, and just trauma. It's like, what kind of school is this? What kind of reality? What is the point of this?
Right.
This place it's definitely not a school, because this place didn't increase me spiritually. It broke me down spiritually. And later on in life, I had to refine who I was because I was so traumatized from the shit the realm did to me, because it's a random number generator. You randomly look how you are. You get plugged into the random family that you get plugged into. Everything's random. And, but random isn't always fair. But I do see this thing, whatever this thing is, creates in randomness and infinity. There's always like this infinity fingerprint that's attached on everything created by what I would call God, the creator of this realm. Some people say that's a misplaced word. You can't call that God. Well, I'm the peon in this experience now. What could I call it? Or there's maybe something above it, and that's the true God. It's like, okay, can we get the hell out of beliefs, come back to actual fucking reality? But I'm at a practical point now where I feel like, what can we do about this in a physical aspect? Is it going after politicians? I feel like if there was an avenue where there could have been something done to fix the realm, it would have been done by now, unless this is the way the realm is supposed to be. So is it a faith thing? Is there another joint I'm going to hit? Oh, pass the faith joint, Lucifer. I don't know, but I am optimistic. It is childlike, but I do sort of I'm not completely pessimistic. I am optimistic as well. Like, I do have this weird feeling inside of me that something could happen. It could get better. It takes like-minded people coming together. That's all it takes. And we've had global communication since the 90s. Why don't we come together, humanity, for my fucking Lord, please? Like, do you want to just suffer under the rule of these monstrous psychopaths forever? I mean, do you want to just be in a persistent, stagnant Groundhog Day slave state from now to fucking eternity? Or do you guys want to try to do something? Come together. I love you people. Let's come together. There is no conflict. I don't want beef. Did you guys come pre-programmed with this war thing built inside you? I'm going to go kill somebody today. Yeah, today's human war day. I have this war. That didn't come inside of me.
No, that only starts up in me when I'm faced with it. Like,
yes.
if I come across somebody else that's like looking to, be that way, then it's like, all right, I'm here. Then the war guy's here. But most of the time, that's not my natural state. In fact, I've had conversations with people, Christian actually, where I was like, I just think everybody should, come together and be close. And they were like, no. I was like, what do you mean no? Like, why you don't want people to come together? Like, no, that's not right. Something perverse about that. Like, what the fuck?
How?
A positive thing that I would say is that in the midst of all this stuff, it doesn't fix the outward world, but a thing that's been positive for me is, it's taken a long time, but who knows, maybe it was a midlife crisis, but becoming more genuine has made my life better, has made all this a lot better. Is like, when you're younger and you're growing up, it's tough, man. It's tough to be like actually yourself, because people are cruel. I have like nightmares about when I was a rough teenager, but the people I knew, the people I hung out with, who I was, they haunt me because it was brutal. People are vicious when they're that young and they don't understand repercussions of things. And so when you're growing up, it's kind of hard to be yourself. Now I can wear crazy shirts and, talk about what I want to talk about and, be more confidently myself. And that's actually made life better, They tell college students and stuff sometimes, like, it gets better, hang in there, it gets better. And I think it does, but I don't diminish at all your lamentations of this realm, because there are some serious problems that I think, people do, like you said, need to come together and figure this thing out, man.
What is the argument to it? What is the logical argument? No, we shouldn't come together. Well, they have beliefs where they do this. Okay, then there should be a set of laws, like no human can harm another human or infringe their beliefs on another human. In other words, I can't have a religion where it's okay for me to chop your head off and then go and chop your head off. Like, you can't murder, you can't harm other human beings. You bring them all together, they're not going to do that. And if they did, goodbye. No offense, but, get rid of the psychopaths that would even participate in that type of behavior. Then there is no conflict between us and them, or those guys and those guys, blah, blah. There is no conflict. It's like the conflict is the illusion that's used against us to keep us in this perpetual state of slavery for some reason, unbeknownst to us. And I don't know what it is, what their interests are, where they put their focus or their meaning in reality, but these people are really what we would call like the physical realm. The politicians are just blood-sucking vampires and monsters, to be honest with you, that put on a fancy, $400, $4,000, who cares, suit to, and feel important. But in the actual reality, they're getting on TV and making faces like this that make no sense. You wouldn't trust Hillary Clinton to babysit your children in actual reality. But in this Forrest Gump reality, somehow that bozo almost got nominated for president. And then you see the current mouth breathing, oh, God, this dude looks like he needs to be wearing a diaper. Yeah. It's like, how did that happen in the Forrest Gump reality? Because this is the Forrest Gump reality. This
is the best we've got? This is the leader of the free world, the guy who's like, in my day, like, I don't want to make fun of him too much because it's low-hanging fruit, but like that's not Elon Musk, not Jordan Peterson. This old rambly Joe is the leader of got his finger on the nukes.
The free world. We are free. A lot of people that talk about the word wizardry and stuff, well, I say, man, to hell with that. To be honest, I just like to curse, but there is a lot of weird shit to it. And when you say like certain words like free, dumb, it's like, what are we saying? Like, I just want to be free. It's like, well, what are you saying though? Are you saying that you're free? Well, if you're free, then I'll take you. I've got a penny right here. I've got more than what you're worth. I'll take you. So there's that to create some internal conflict, and we can focus on the word wizardry and see free and dumb and, days of the week, and all these weird words that seem evil, and it's like there's always avenues to go down to keep us preoccupied or entertained. And it almost seems infinite. It almost seems like it's generated up either by the realm or through the people that are in the realm. Again, where does motivation, thought, and ideas come from? Where is creativity coming
Good
from?
Question. By the way, our prime minister is easily make funnable. So no offense to like Americans or anything. Like everybody hates our own prime minister here.
Yeah.
I heard a crazy theory that he was like the son of Castro or something. I was like,
Castro?
Is that possible?
He looks so much like him, it's hilarious, but it's possible. It's really possible, but I don't know.
I got you guys.
Anyway, we're gonna run out of time on this video anyway in a bit. We've been doing this for a while now. I want to thank you, Chris, so much for coming on the show. You've been a great
Thank you, brother.
guest.
It was a fun
Amazing
talk.
to have you. So yeah, I guess we'll end it here. I just want to say to everyone else out there, look in the description box. I'll leave a link to Chris's YouTube channel. Go check him out. He's got great stuff there. Check out our stuff in the description. Hit the subscribe, like, share with a friend. All that stuff helps promote the channel. And you can say this with us, Chris, if you want. You know how we end this shit. But anyway, everybody, until next time, stay spiritual.
Stay spiritual. I'm sorry, guys. Before we end this, I want to say I do hope the best for whatever you guys are doing with your channel. You guys seem like to be. And if there is some sort of way that I could donate any kind of power to anything in reality, it's to people like you, and hope success comes to you with whatever it is you're trying to do. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on. It was a fun talk.
It was great, man. Take it easy, man. Take care.
Appreciate it. See you guys later.